Hey guys, welcome to the lesson on emotional adulthood. We are going to discuss the difference between being an emotional adult and an emotional child. And it might sound a little bit abstract going through this, but start to look at the people in your life or, the people that you see on TV or, just people in general. And you will notice people are either living in emotional adulthood or emotional childhood, and you will see how that is creating the results that they have in their life. So when you're an emotional adult, you're living in responsibility. You're taking full responsibility for everything in your life, for how you feel, for the actions that you take, and for the results that you have in your life. Contrast this with the victim mentality, the emotional child mentality. Now, when I say victim mentality, I'm not talking about being an actual victim. You could have been an actual victim in a certain situation and not adopt a victim mentality about the future and how you're going to move forward and what you make that mean about yourself and your future. So I'm talking about the mentality here. When you're an emotional child, you blame other people for how you feel, for how you act, and for the results that you have in your life. It basically looks like adults having temper tantrums. You don't feel in control when you're living an emotional childhood. The problem when you blame other people for your life or how you feel or the actions or results you have, or institutions or the economy or your past, the problem is that you give all of your power away. And when you give all your power away, you can't do anything about it because someone else is responsible for it. You will feel very concerned about how you're making other people feel also when you do this. And this is impossible. You can't make someone feel anything. And I will tell you a quick example of this in my life. And this isn't emotional adulthood or childhood, but it gets at the point of how different people feel different things based on what they think, not based on what other people make them think. So I'll have typos on my website like all the time. Like, you guys, I seriously am a one-man shop and I'm all about producing, and that's how I get results. I don't care about typos. When I have typos and people tell me about them, I'm so grateful and appreciative. I don't make it mean anything about me. I don't care if that other person thinks something about me that I don't like. I don't make typos mean anything, and I love when people give me feedback about grammar or typos. Like, I just go in and change it. Like, I'm so grateful. I come from this great space about it. Now, I can tell you that when people tell me this, they give me feedback or say like, oh, I'm typos here or there, they will qualify it with like 10 sentences around it. It'll start off by like, I love all your stuff, blah, 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 blah. Oh, by the way, there's this little typo. And just so you know, like, I love when people give me feedback. I hope you don't interpret this wrong, and da, 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 da. And the reason they're doing this, they're qualifying it, is because they want to make sure I don't make it mean anything, which I'm not going to anyways, but because other people make it mean so much. So a lot of times when you give someone feedback about an error or mistake or spelling, they take it personally and they don't like it. So it makes them feel bad. So the reason that they feel bad is because they're making it mean something in their head. Their thought about it is what making them feel bad. So you have two different people, two bloggers. The same person gives them feedback about typos or grammar. I don't make it mean anything and I feel great about it. The other person feels terrible about it. The key here, the reason that I'm talking about this in this section, is that I just want you to know that no one can make you feel a certain way. I choose to feel grateful that the person told me that. The other person might choose to take it personally. So just know that you can never make a person feel a certain way. That's their responsibility. You only have control over you, and that's it. And y'all know that is enough. You don't need to be dependent on anyone else, because it's a very disempowering when you hand your emotional life over. Examples of emotional child behavior. You blame the education system for your student loans. You blame traffic when you're late. You blame your health on your genes. You blame your job for your unhappiness. And you blame your mood on your day or the weather. You guys know this. You've done this, right? Oh, it's so crummy out. Like, I feel like blah, Well, the weather is not responsible for your happiness. You believe everything is happening to you when you live in emotional childhood. Now, contrast this with emotional adulthood. You take responsibility for your student loan debt. You take responsibility when you're late. Your health is your responsibility. You're happy even though you want to quit your job. That is a powerful one. You believe everything is happening for you and it's your responsibility for how you feel no matter what is happening around you. Okay, that sounds great, right? How do we be an emotional adult? You have to truly believe that your life is happening for you, even if you've had bad things happen in the past, or even if you were a victim of a situation in the past. You have to create a story that in your head and believe that it was all happening for you to design your dream life ahead of you. Take responsibility for the thoughts in your head, because that's the only place your past exists, is the thoughts that you have in your head. Take responsibility for your feelings and your actions and the results you have in your life. Apologize when you want to, and don't justify or blame when you do it. Don't look to other people to make you feel a certain way. Own your own feelings and notice that you're responsible for them. This stuff is really dense. I'm going through it quickly in a lesson, and if it's new to you, this can really rock your world, because some of you are either going to notice that you've been living in emotional childhood, or someone really close to you is, and you just want to change it. Well, you can only change yourself, so focus on becoming an emotional adult and understand that everything is happening for you, even if it's a difficult situation. Like, life is difficult and there is the contrast of life. And I always like to say, when I'm going through something tough or when something bad is happening in my life, I just say, oh, this is the part of my life that is bad, because, if there was no bad, would I even know good? Like, there has to be that contrast, the good and the bad. And practicing owning that and knowing that it's happening for me, even if I can't see why in the moment, is really, really useful. And knowing that there is kind of, light at the end of the tunnel, and that I don't have to fall into like emotional childhood. So practice this. It's very dense stuff. It's not something that you do once and then master. I find myself falling into poor me sometimes, and I have to consciously pull myself out of it. But the beauty is that I do. And that's what I'm asking you to do. You can do this. If you find yourself falling into emotional childhood, notice it, kind of stop the pity party, stop yourself, and ask yourself what this makes possible. Okay, I will see you in the next lesson.